Squatting Slav TV.
If you're thinking of coming to Canada, you can forget about passports and visas, because nowadays you can simply just walk into the country freely on foot, and the Canadian Border Patrol will be more than happy to help you carry your bags and luggage over.
Because you come here doesn't mean you get to stay.
Yes, and we believe in this.
Yes. Do you have any questions for me?
No. We just want to come in. That's it.
No.
Please.
For the fact that we believe in Canada, that Canada can solve our problem. That's why we are here.
We are saving
And we don't have any other choice to go back.
We don't have any other place to go back.
Our mind is made up. We want to come into Canada.
But this is a mock standoff, really. Almost no one who comes here turns away. One man, fed up with waiting, just walks on by undeterred, seemingly oblivious to the RCMP warnings, which sets the others in motion. Some of these families appear to have flown into New York City.
As you saw in that excerpt, the Canadian border has no fence, no wall, and absolutely no resistance from the side of Canuck Border Patrol officers who are just there to lay out some simple ground rules before you come in. Eh?
This is not illegal port of entry. This is an illegal point.
In 2017 alone, some 15,000 migrants entered Canada on foot from the United States via the infamous Roxham Road, where the Canadian border separates Emerson, Manitoba and Plattsburgh, New York. The migrants, who are escorted to the Canadian border by cabs on a daily basis, have been using this exact same point of entry on Roxham Road for over 2 years now, leaving many Canadians wondering why border officials haven't done anything to deter and discourage these people from entering here. When Islamic migrants poured into Hungary and Croatia in 2015, the countries acted quickly by putting up border fences, which almost entirely stopped the influx of migrants into their countries. The cucked Canadian government, on the other hand, has been completely passive in dealing with these people, with border officials acting more like concierge and bellhoppers than stringent border police. According to statistics, many of these migrants are of African and Middle Eastern background, and nearly 44% of these people are citizens of Haiti who are still using the old "Trump is going to deport me" excuse in order to seek refugee status in Canada.
Why don't you stay in the United States?
Because Donald Trump don't want me to stay in the United States.
These Haitian migrants, who were granted temporary protection status in the US following the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, are now desperately trying to pour into Canada before their temporary status expires in 2019. Unlike the migrants in Europe who play the refugee card by claiming that they're coming in from war-torn countries, the situation in Canada is a little bit different, because the migrants are knowingly exploiting a pathetic loophole of Canada's immigration law. In Canada, migrants who show up at official entry points in the country claiming Canada's protection are denied and sent back because Canada considers the US a safe third-party country for people to seek refuge in. However, migrants coming into Canada at unofficial entry points, which are oftentimes just a few miles away from the official ones, are never turned away because they're protected by an incomprehensible loophole in Canada's Safe Third Country Agreement. Basically, migrants who are able to make it into Canada on foot at any unofficial entry point are free to come in even though they're coming from the US, which is considered perfectly safe by all international refugee standards. The last time I checked, the US wasn't a war-torn country that people were fleeing, so you kind of have to ask yourself why the Canadian government is letting in masses of people who don't fit any international definition of a refugee. These migrants are well aware of just how easy it is to cross into Canada at Markham Road because so many others have done it before them without persecution, and they continue to pass this information on to countless others who are just as eager to hop into the country by getting a free pass in. Last week alone, 600 migrants crossed into Canada through the Quebec border, contributing to an enormous spike from the usual 50 or 60 people who enter illegally on a daily basis.
In a quirk in Canadian law, if migrants arrive at a location other than a port of entry, they are allowed to request refugee status, but it's not guaranteed.
In 2018, the Canadian government's budget will allocate more than $170 million over a 2-year span to support the intake of asylum claimants, yet the Canadian government is still completely divided on how to tackle the migrant problem, which will only intensify in the upcoming summer months. Many of these individuals who have been living in Canada for years now are still collecting government welfare checks and medical benefits, and are privileged to government assistance that many starving Canadians and veterans will never have. The Trudeau government and mainstream media, which insist that Canadians be open-minded to these quote-unquote newcomers, are slowly but surely taking Canada down the same path of chaos that is currently eroding most of Western Europe. Seeing how the city of Montreal had no issues in transforming an entire Olympic stadium into tent city last summer just to accommodate thousands of Haitian migrants, it's becoming quite clear that sanctuary cities are here to stay in the land of maple syrup. While thousands of hardworking people can only dream of having the privilege of living in Canada, migrants who have been entering the country on foot are being treated like royalty by immigration officers who have become nothing more than a concierge and greeting service under the absurd laws of the Liberal government. Instead of deterring these people from entering the country, Canadian politicians have kicked their feet up while proudly advertising Canada's border as one of the weakest and most pathetic borders in the Western world.